We're live. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Evolution of Fitness. Got Fiona saying hi today. I'm Ella Majors, a holistic fitness coach, person who's super passionate about personal evolution. And I'm live today with my friend, my colleague, my training partner, George Whitehead. Yay!
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. I'm going to have you introduce yourself, but first, we just had a fantastic workout. How would you describe our training sessions together?
Hard. Hard. What happens is I usually, Ella scripts the workouts, and lately our focus has been on handstand, some variation of handstands. And as we do that, lately, since her injury, we've been doing, we interject some corrective exercises for lunges, squats, things like that to strengthen her as much as possible for her surgery. But yeah, it's hard, but we have a great time. It's kind of like, like we're doing the uncomfortable, and we push it as far as we can. And then next week we try and get better. And so I enjoy that. That's it's a different perspective on progressive overload. We just make the exercise more difficult as opposed to just adding weight.
Right. So if you guys see my Instagram, you know I'm kind of a handstand fanatic. So I kind of make that a goal for anyone I work with, even if it's not their goal, which is not my usual coaching technique. But I just find handstand so fun that I just want it for everybody. And welcome to you guys joining. We got Allison from Scotland, my girl. Hey,
Hello, Allison.
What's going on? Jennifer's here, Denver. Yeah, if you're joining, let us know where you're tuning in from, what your relationship with handstands is. and yeah, so, but I wanted to talk about our evolutions of fitness. First of all, do you want to talk first about kind of what that means to you, what evolution? Because for me, I started when I was 5 with gymnastics and swimming, and so it was very sports oriented. Then I got into the gym, I got into lifting, heavy lifting, and I told you to go first, and here I am going first. But just to give you the example, got into really heavy lifting, had some injuries. Overtraining was something that I, believe it or not, I overtrained and got injured a lot. And then about, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, got into calisthenics, started working more with mobility, got into yoga, Budokan yoga, the animal locomotives, and yeah, things. So it's been a huge evolution. And now this ACL injury twice has been a piece of this, and kind of shifting how I look at training is ongoing. And shout out to Valerie, saying hi to us, and Fiona from Massachusetts. She has an aspirational relationship to handstands.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. And Allison hasn't done one for 40 years. So does that mean like now's the time to start back, Allison? Or what are you thinking? So anyway, so what about you? Like in terms of your evolution of fitness, what does that mean to you?
I would say personally, when long time ago, I wanted to play football, and my dad wouldn't let me play, and so he was actually correct in that. When I was like 7th grade, 8th grade, and all my friends were playing contact football, and he didn't want me to play, and I was bummed. And but in lieu of letting me play, and in hindsight, he was correct. I didn't need to play that early, but in lieu of that, he got me a weight set, and so I had the concrete weights within the plastic that you got from Kmart. I think he got them from Kmart, and then he got me a bench, and that was his his like peace offering to me, like, you can't play, but you can lift. And I would lift every day, and of course I was doing what kids do. I'm just doing bicep curls, and I'm up, like benching and trying to see how much I can do. And the things that I'm averse to with clients and for myself as well today. And so as that evolved, I became very strong. I got really strong. I started getting into powerlifting. I started was one of the strongest people on my football team in high school, and went to state weightlifting and championship in high school, and I got third place in the state of Florida and in my weight class.
Go George, go George.
And then in hindsight to that, what I think about it is, as I evolved from that time period, then I started working in a fitness center when I was in college and post football. And then I started doing one set to failure on knowledge machines. I worked at a facility. That's what we did. And got results from that, and was in great shape from that. Not how I train now, but I mean, I trained for years religiously. I actually did a modality called super slow, 10-second positive, 5-second negative. Did it for years. And then as I became a personal trainer, like a real personal trainer, like there was a time when people didn't, like if you said someone was a personal trainer, people didn't even know. So I've been in the business that long. I've been in the fitness industry since 1989. And so in there, I started, learning more, studying with different people, and then like multiple sets, going back to multiple sets, because that's what I did in previously. And then as I've evolved now, I want much more out of training. It's not like I'm not about lifting weights, heavy weights per se, because it's not necessarily part of my goal if I was still playing football. But at 57, no, that's not what I'm doing. But I do things like animal flow. I'm a martial artist. I have a black belt, and I'm a very big proponent, as my good friend here is, of movement. And I really believe in my heart, move or die. That's pretty much where that's how I see it, move or die. Like if you're not moving, you're dying. And so I think of it as being progressive also in terms of find things that you want to do. And there's nothing that you can't do. I don't believe in that can't. I believe can't is like one of those, the term I can't is one of the most vulgar terms I've ever heard in application to anything. Because most times we don't really know. We don't know what we're capable of. So I'm a big proponent of movement. And as an animal flow practitioner, that's what I see the benefit in it for people. Because if I could go back to George in high school and ninth grade, when I started playing football, I would focus more on mobility than I would have on strength. And I know that would have helped me be stronger. So I think that in exercise, we should be challenging ourselves. We should be pushing ourselves. And the aesthetic is cool, but I'm training for 20 years from now. That's my evolution of fitness. When I was 37, I had been training for 20 years. For 20 years before, I was training for 37. At 57, at 37, I was training for 57. And right now, I'm training for 77. And that's how I see it. I want to be able to move. I want to be, with my grandkids at Disney World, I want to be able to wear them out. That's really what my goal is.
Yep, I feel you on that. And I feel like I want to talk for a moment about, so you guys, I think most of you know that I have surgery tomorrow. So I wanted to launch this show this week before surgery, so we can talk about it before surgery and I can talk about it after. And I want to share not only people that also have ACL injuries, because I did all this research before my first surgery about, and I've heard from so many different people, and everybody seems to have a different opinion about what's the right thing to do. Is a repair better than a reconstruction? Is a allograft better than a autograft? And that means either using a cadaver tendon to reconstruct the ACL, or using your own tendon from either your patellar tendon or your quad tendon. And there didn't seem to be like super clear answers. So when my surgeon the first time around said, if I can do a repair, I'm going to do a repair. That's the best thing, because then we're not using, any of your other parts. We're not using somebody else's parts. It makes sense if you can stitch it back together. And here I go, 9-10 months later, first time back sparring and it tears. And then I read the research that it's 20 to 25% more likely to re-tear with a repair versus a reconstruction. And now I'm going into surgery for tomorrow, feeling pretty sure that I'm making the right decision about doing a patellar tendon reconstruction. And then, but there's always people with different opinions. And you were just telling me one of your mentors was like, I'm not sure why she's doing it that way. And so now my mind's a little like, and I've been so unemotional about, my back in my 20s and early 30s, I had all these body image issues. So all of those things would come up when I'm going into surgery. And I know a lot of the people in my mastermind, some of you are here right now, our theme this month is body image. So I think about, not being able to train the way I could train before. And I would think about the weight I would gain and the strength I would lose and the muscle I would lose. And that would be so stressful. And now in my life, like, that's not a big deal for me right now. Like, the body image issue isn't coming up, but the thought of, am I making the right decision is coming up a little bit right now, like less than 24 hours until surgery. So I think it's, I think it is what it is, but do you have any thoughts on that, George?
Well, as your friend, I'm kind of conflicted even when I was sharing with you like what my conversation with my good friend and mentor Donnie Raymond. The argument would be that there are synthetic applications that they could be applied to this, like that would be today that are more advanced in that technology, in that aspect of it. But I would say that, also I would say that there are no absolutes. So this is not, like my mom was a nurse for 50 years and she would always say they call it a practice for a reason. It's, like there are margins of error. There are many different factors contingencies that we don't even know about within someone's body. Because like you've had this surgery twice. 20 some odd years ago, when you had was it a labrum issue you had with your hip?
Hip, a very, very severe stress fracture in the head of my femur.
Yeah. And so then you have that, and then you have the aspect of when you first told me that you had a torn ACL, and I knew how long you'd been kicking. It was very confusing to me, knowing what I knew about the body. How did that happen? So there are many things in that that I would question, and most of the elite level athletes today, they're moving towards having this synthetic application. An example would be when I talk about this, I'm speaking on the surface. I'm not an expert on it. I have a little bit enough knowledge not to be dangerous, or to be dangerous. When Aaron Rodgers got hurt and he got his ACL, Achilles tendon tear. The reason he came back so quickly was because what they used is synthetic material in application in his Achilles tendon. And I'm not going to describe this perfectly, but basically they put that in, and the tendon grows around it, and that's what allowed him to come back so quickly from his injury. That being said, I don't know what you talk to multiple doctors, so they know. I would in a sense defer to them, but I know the successes that people have with synthetic materials. I mean, at the same time, we're going to do our approach to it at post surgery is going to be the same. We're going to, once you get the green light, I'm going to help you strengthen those muscles. And what in any non-contact injury, the biggest thing that you're looking at is, I always like this quote from my good friend, is that most non-contact injuries are a catastrophic failure of a coordinated symphony of muscle activity. Muscles have to contract and relax at a variety of amplitudes to simultaneously produce safe and accurate motion and stability. Post-surgery, this finely tuned symphony needs to be retrained. And so either way, we have to get the orchestra to play well together, and play correctly together, and to turn on and turn off at the correct time. Either way, that's what we have to do. So I either way you'd be worried to some degree about the surgery, and just, like, I don't think there are absolutes. There may be better.
Yeah.
And either way, we're gonna have to approach it the same way. We're gonna have to approach it like that. And we don't know, like, I don't know why, and looking at how when in the video of how when your ACL tore again, it was very interesting. I mean, you're one of the ways that the ACL tears is it was your rotation. You have the I'm sorry. You have the tibial plateau intercondylar knots right here. So on the tibia, the ACL's right here, and then you rotate it on you were kicking and you rotated. And the things we don't know are, like, some people have, like, this space could be like nothing, and you could be rotating and be all free. And some people genetically, they're predisposed. This is a very small area right here. You've been kicking for at least 30 years, I'd say, right? It's 20,
yeah.
yes, something like that. Long time, decades. So why would that happen to you? That's
Right.
that's always been my question. The first time you told me, I was like, you did the kicking? How? So when I see the video, I can see it, but I don't necessarily understand it. So I don't. We're gonna do the best we can, and we'll be optimistic about it, and we'll go from there.
Sounds like a plan. Allison asked, what are your thoughts on injuries? Should you stop and rest or push through?
Depends on the injury. Depends on, I mean, one aspect of dealing with the injury is rest. Depending on if, like, you have a broken bone, of course you have to stop using that bone. But you want to improve circulation, you want to focus on things like that, and then you want to move it at the way to the. And speaking generally, if, let's say I hurt my arm and I want to do something, if I'm minimize the pain, so say my hand's hurt right here, and I can flex my hand to here without pain, but it hurts here, then I just stop right there. In the body, you have about 10 degrees more range of motion, 10 degrees more benefit in a range of motion. So let's say if I get here and that's as far as I can go, I can benefit in terms of my anatomy this about 10 degrees more. So, and over time that range will increase. That's how I would approach it in a training session, as long as I know that we're not doing any damage. So that's trial and error. That's trial and error. But I'm always going to train. I'm always going to err on the side of safety. We can always progress to doing more, but we get injured, that stops the training. So, but like, it's pushing through. Usually the concept of pushing through usually is, what are we pushing through? That will be the question. What are we pushing through?
Yeah, it's got it. Every circumstance is different.
Yeah,
so
it's
a hard question to ask as a general. If you want to give any more details, Allison, maybe we can go there. Okay, so before we move forward, I thought about this segment that we were talking about before.
Well, I'm scared. I'm very scared.
All right, you guys know I like to have.
And I want you to know that I'm always scared. I go to train with Ella. We train once or twice a week, depending on the week. And then I'll be like, okay. And I let her usually script it. Sometimes she'll ask me what about this, what about that, and then because it's fun for me. It's fun. We have fun together. And what will happen is, like, I'll be like, oh, that's the workout. Okay. I'll do it, and she's happy just because I'm like, nobody else would probably do it with her, because it's like, yeah. I'm just like,
so true.
I'm like, okay.
I'm like, I found somebody who will do the shit that I asked them that I want to do.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm like, crazy. Yeah.
Yes. So I introduced this, you guys. I think it's the same people are here as the first time. I introduced that segment of standing like a tree when I was talking to Dr. Shabnam. And so she suggested, have your audience do it with you. So I don't know if anybody's up for doing it today. Allison's struggling with tennis elbow. We'll get there, because I had golfer's elbow, Allison. So I think because George is up for just about anything. I mean, you really will. You're like, you've never said no.
No, I've never said no. But, and then, now that being said, and this is how I apply to training. Like, we're one, she and I are pretty advanced. So whatever we're doing, we're capable of doing to some degree. Whatever we're doing is proper movement patterns and proper biomechanics. So I don't do stupid shit when I train. Now, it might seem, like there is always a methodology, and I've progressed to that level. So I don't out of the blue go do something crazy, and I've never, if you see us doing anything, like she's helped me do dragon tails, and if you ever seen videos of Bruce Lee, it's like your whole body straight, and you're coming down and coming back up, and but that's a progression. So it's not, we don't start at Z, we start at A. So
yeah.
same.
So my point is I don't ask you to do stupid shit, because you would say no if I asked you to do stupid shit.
I would say quickly, no, I'm not doing that.
Yes, you're not afraid to say no, but you're very open to whatever. Yeah. And I want to talk about animal flow, because I think that's something in our WhatsApp group. You guys, if anybody hasn't joined our Evolution and Fitness Club, we've got a WhatsApp group where we're going to have fitness challenges once we hit 100 members. So join that. The link's in the description. But anyway, so this segment, I'll explain it once more. And if you guys watching want to try, do it with us. So one of the things in my evolution of fitness that I've been doing is Tai Chi and Qigong. And one of the practices we do in Tai Chi and Qigong is a standing meditation. And we can do this sitting, but it's called standing like a tree. And they have different arms postures, but like the traditional one for standing like a tree is holding the arms out. But there's ones that you do different arms movements, but it's holding let me put this down a little bit, maybe that'll, yeah. So, and you stand, and it's an expansion. And next Thursday, I have Fred Holt coming on. He's going to explain in depth about why we do this, what it means, what you should be thinking about. But it's an expansion. So you're thinking about expanding basically your body in every direction. This is very, these are internal arts. So it's about energy. It's about chi. It's about moving the energy through our body. And for me, my biggest kind of Achilles heel when it comes to my health is sleep. And I know a lot of people in my mastermind group also have some sleep issues. Anybody watching have sleep issues? So I've struggled with insomnia for 20 years, something I haven't figured out yet. I know all the things. I've tried everything under the sun so far, but I really believe that the internal arts is my path. I feel like there's stuff stuck in my body that I can move through energetically with these arts. And so I'm practicing, and it's painful because I love moving fast and I like intensity. And you guys know me. I mean, I'm just like, I want to take it to the next level, and moving slow.
So know that I discuss, it's important to rest, Ella. Like, won't you chill?
Yes. And I advise that for everybody else too.
So that's conversation. Like, she'll see me, like she'll be like, no, that I'm thinking that. She'll be like, like I'm gonna take a break tomorrow, or I'm just gonna do this. So rest is a component of that. So of exercise and fitness, it's an important aspect of it.
Yes, Valerie thought I meant the yoga tree pose. No, this. Yes. So, and then you hold and you focus on expanding and relaxing. It's called Song, is this rest and relax state within the body, which you can do even when you're holding it out and holding your arms out. Even when it starts to burn, you work on leaning into the discomfort. You work on moving through the discomfort. And when I first started, 5 minutes was like all I could do. I dropped my arms. Now I'm up to, on Sunday, I did 21 minutes. So I thought for a fun segment, we continue to talk, but we are in our standing like a tree position, and you guys can do it with us.
So I really hope this does not turn into a meme somewhere.
Why not?
Why not? Okay.
And then, but here's the thing. So if you need to drop your arms, if you need to take a little break, and we did just do a shoulder heavy strength training session or
handstand
session. We did handstand walks across the floor. We did handstand, headstand to handstand, back up and down from headstand to handstand. We did what they call in calisthenics, skin the cat. For all you fellow vegans out there, know that I changed the name of that exercise to peel the banana. But it's a movement where you grab onto a bar and move and lift your legs up and flip through back and forth. Anyway, we did all these things about an hour ago. So shoulders are a little tired. That said, we get to pick how long we're going to do it for. And if we need a break, like ego, we can let the ego go. It's okay. And we get a reboot shot of my favorite greens powder, the Ultimate Elixir. I've been using this for a decade. Some of you watching maybe have used it as well. It is like a energy boost, like right away. You feel it in your body. It's also kind of a rite of passage. And I was telling George this before we got on the show. He's like, what are you going to make me drink? Because not going to lie, if you just mix it with water, it is intense, I guess is a good word for it. Kind of like you just mowed the lawn and then you're drinking the grass clippings. That's kind of what it tastes like, because there's no artificial anything, no stevia, no nothing in it. Anyway, it's amazing. Like greens insurance, I call it, and I call it my morning mud. So once you mix it in, it looks like this nice little concoction. Okay, so the point is, when you drop your arms, you get a reboot shot and you take a big swig, or we could have shot glasses. This is evolving, so you guys can help us have ideas if we want to change this up. But that's the idea. And then we keep talking.
You can keep talking as we do.
We keep talking. Yes, ultimately, when you're doing this on your own, it's a meditative state where you're not talking. It's not necessarily eyes closed. It can be a soft gaze or whatever. So how long should we go?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
10 minutes. You tell me. I'm do what I always do when I'm training with you tell me.
All right. 12 minutes.
Of course you said 12. Okay.
So I'm gonna start a timer. And then we're gonna chat. You guys keep questions coming. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer. If you want to do this.
Allison was asking about struggling with tennis elbow.
Are you?
So
well, let's start a timer.
Okay.
Unless you need to show something before, because now your hands are going to be inaccessible.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I just wanted we were trying to answer questions, so I wanted to be.
Yeah, but I figure we should go ahead and start our timer. All right. We ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
Okay.
I haven't posted in a long time. So when we're talking about tennis elbow, and I haven't dealt with that in a while, but we're just speaking to an injury aspect of it. I'm wondering, Allison, if you've done any contrast treatment on your elbow.
What is contrast treatment?
So like you do like cold 5 minutes, hot 5 minutes, cold 4 minutes, hot 4 minutes, all the way going 3 minutes each, 2 minutes each, 1 minute each. What you're focused on is trying to get increased circulation to that area, and that might be helpful to you. I don't know how long you've been having this issue or how acute it is, but in the beginning, that would be a good way to help increase circulation to that area. But yeah, rest would be important for that tennis elbow, and letting it waiting for it to abate before you started back playing tennis.
Are you playing tennis, Allison? Because I had golfer's elbow and don't play golf. So curious. But one of my clients I'm working with now has tennis elbow. It kind of comes and goes. So for my golf, have you dealt much with golfer's elbow?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I got. Oh, you know what it was? I started calisthenics, like the bar work and all of that, and handstands. And of course, like I would do, I started from 0 to 100. And then I got a TFCC tear in my wrist, probably from doing handstands for, playing tennis for over a year. So yeah, tennis.
Okay. So I would take a break. Do treatments, focus on circulation, that would be my suggestion off the top of my head. Um, uh, you might want to speak to a PT about some, like take a look at it to see, make sure there's nothing else going on there. I mean, I ventured to answer your question, but I think contrast would help when it's acute.
Speaking of not tried contrast treatment. Thank you. Cool. Yes. Speaking of, so anyway, let me just finish my little story. So I started doing handstand holds for minutes at a time, from I hadn't really been doing much handstands. And then I got a TFCC tear in my wrist. Was in a brace for 6 weeks. While that was healing, I couldn't do stuff on my arm. So when I went back to the calisthenics, I think my forearm was weak, which then caused the golfer's elbow, which made a lot of sense in the same arm.
Yeah.
Anywho, I ended up getting 2 cortisone shots in a year apart, which helped, but then it didn't help. And then I
because the cortisone shots are not only going to help go for so long, and you're going to help be beneficial for a few times, and you don't ever want to be dependent upon that.
Right. So anyway, then I had somebody who did some experiment that was new and did some exercises and I was able to heal it. So that's cool. But I want to talk about animal flow because it's kind of like these animal locomotives I got introduced to through my friend Nelson Leon, who will be on the show. He is a Budokan master instructor. And in Budokan yoga, have you guys heard of Budokan yoga? It's pretty cool. They have a whole yoga sequencing, and then they have the animal locomotives. They also do mixed martial arts within it and calisthenics. And so that was my introduction to the animal locomotives, the gorilla, the lion, the chimpanzee, all the different things that I do and share on my Instagram. But I also knew about animal flow, but hadn't really done it. Do you know, can you talk about animal flow? Because I think all these things they're fun and they're new for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, any of the quadrupedal movements.
Quadrupedal, they might not know.
All right, so like on all fours are beneficial. They're beneficial in a number of ways. Animal flow is one modality. Like Budokan is another. There are other things out there, so it's not like it's the only way to do it. What was interesting about animal flow, I started doing this 2010 with Mike Fitz, the founder, who's a close friend of mine. And because he was when he was developing, and he's such a nice guy, he got me into doing it. And the only reason I did it was because it was Mike asking, and I do whatever for Mike because he's that kind of person. But I began to see the benefits in terms of clients. I'd see people benefit in terms of movement. I'd see their modalities, their mobility improve. I'd see people's postures improve from being on all fours. And being on all fours is primal, but also it's very connects the hemisphere, helpful in connecting the hemispheres of the brain. Sometimes it's a regression programming for, let's say, children who have issues with certain learning issues like math, and they'll do quadrupedal movements to benefit them. So it's also when you're doing quadrupedal movements, you burn more calories. So but what was cool about it, we would do these animal movements and then we would apply them. We call it flow because these movements, we combine those movements, put them together. And that was when Mike started doing this. Now we'll talk about a kettlebell flow and this kind of flow and that kind of flow. But at the time when animal flow came into being, no one was using that terminology. So it became part of the lexicon after that. So, but I've improved. I've worked with high-level athletes with it. It gives you quadrupedal movements and animal flow that gives you a better connection or ability to speak to your body. And I'm a big fan of it. It's challenging to people. It's not that, like you're not like doing some dumbbells and pushing weights. You have to move your body. And one of the reasons I'm really into, I love body weight training, because at the same time I got pushed, and we were doing a lot of body weight training at the time too, as I still do. But it was kind of new for me. I saw how inflexible I was, and I saw the things that I couldn't do because I'm thinking that I'm a badass. I can do this. I can do that. I'm a karate man, whatever. And I can't do this handstand, or I can't do or I'm inflexible in terms of this. I can't really get down here and do a squat like that. So Mike, when he started on Animal Flow, he went and studied with like some old school um, break dancers. He went and did Budokan. He worked with yoga,
Oh,
and
he did do Budokan?
yeah, he did all. He worked with a number of different modalities and developing Animal Flow, and then began creating these movements and putting them together. And so but I saw a client who had terrible posture of his. They were doing what's called a beast, and it's a quadrupedal movement. You're moving on all fours. And I watched this guy's posture improve literally in a month. I was just watching. And that's when I got into it. Because I used to be a big dancer. This is like when I was a kid. And when the breakdancing world came in, I was just like, I'll never get on the floor. That was my mentality about it. And it's funny that I got into Animal Flow because people would be pulling out cardboards, and that was like, dog, that's when I said, I'm out. I'm not doing that. And but now it was funny is that I'm always somewhere, in any workout I do for myself, I'm gonna be probably doing a quadrupedal movement, moving in this regard, doing on the floor, and I combine it with what you consider a normal weight workout or resistance workout. And I do that with my clients when I can.
How are your shoulders feeling?
They're burning, but we're good.
Good.
I don't know what our time frame is.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
We only got 3 minutes left. See?
Left? Okay. Well, I guess we're doing pretty good.
That's crazy.
All right.
So yeah, one of the things. So I've been having the one thing that's really powerful, and I'm going to come back to the Animal Flow in a second. But about this particular meditation exercise is it will kind of highlight where there are issues in the body. So I know I have a right shoulder issue. I don't know what it is, but what I find is that starts to burn first. But within a couple minutes, when I relax into it, I breathe into it, it like passes through, which I think is really powerful in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure what, but anywho, Animal Flow. So where can people get a taste of it? Do you, like, he has a YouTube or something?
You go to animalflow.com.
Okay.
It's all over the world, like right now, which is really amazing to me. Mike, you can go to Mike's on IG. You can go Mike Fitch. Go to Mike. Look at Mike Fitch. I think it's Mike Fitch AF, and you can go to animalflow.com, and they have a Facebook and Instagram pages, and you can find a coach. They'll give you locations of coaches there, and literally all over the world. And that's what's really amazing to me. Like Mike went and has it spread all over the world, and that's really cool. One of the things that like we talk about handstands and doing different things and the movements, and I'm a martial artist, as is Ella, and like anything you want to get good at, all you have to do is practice. I mean, we talk about fitness, but it applies to anything. And so that's why I'm a big, like, the word, using the terminology I can't is like, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's a progression. You won't start where I am, but movement is important. And the more mobility you have, the better blood flow you have, the better circulation you have. It's your brain functions better. I can't speak highly enough of it. And but we're as people, we find ourselves resistant to the challenge at times, and I think we get out of your comfort zone and step into the challenge. That's and that's that. I love Animal Flow, and I've helped people who are 80 years old to I've worked with kids who are 7 or 8. And then the thing I would say about this is in body weight movement or any quadrupedal movement, which Animal Flow is, quadrupedal movement modality, what you're looking for is is that you want to Oh, woo.
That was 12 minutes. See?
It took 12 minutes. I'm so happy to be done. I forgot what I was saying. When you're thinking in that sense, the body is meant to move, and we live in we used to live in an agrarian society, and now we live in a non-agrarian society. So we're sitting in these chairs. Whereas another time we'd be having this conversation and we'd just be squatting. Right. So our lack of mobility, these chairs are not a benefit to us. Right. So back issues, knee issues, a lot of the issues that we have is because we're in this position. This is not a normal position for us. So so the benefit of moving and teaching our body to move and getting that flow is preventative and helpful to us moving. And just like you move better in if you can move in a quadrupedal movements, then I know as a trainer, I know that I'm helping you with your gait. And it's simple as that. I know that I'm helping you in that regard. It's not easy. It's not always you're not going to look, like sometimes people have issues with wrists and they're like, oh, I can't do it because of my wrist issues. And we can figure out ways to work around that. And that's what you should do as a trainer. What you should do, okay, I have this issue. Let me see if I can address it. Yeah. That doesn't mean I just don't do it because I have this issue. Ella has knee injury. We work to improve that flexibility, that movement, and we go as best we can safely into that into moving that direction. If we know that there's going to be a benefit, there's a benefit risk there. Now, if you have if you can't do it, the benefit risk doesn't weigh out, then let's move. Then we won't. We'll find something else. But I've found it very beneficial. I found it very. I've worked with basketball players, pro football players. A wide range of athletes and people, and I've seen the benefit from it. And it doesn't. I mean, I'm a big proponent of animal flow. That's what I know. But I mean, any quadrupedal movement is helpful in that regard.
Speaking of, Allison did it with us in her PJs because she's in Scotland.
Thank you, Allison.
Felt it in neck
you're the
and
best.
back.
You're a beast.
So one thing, yeah, you are a beast, Allison. And one thing that I'm always getting reminded of by Fred is expanding also through the crown of the head. So keeping this very long through the cervical spine as well. But it's about expanding in every single direction. They talk about 8.
So, and also when you hear, you want to, I mean, you might have saw me move a little bit, like, you feel that tension, just relax into it.
Yeah.
Relax into it. And like she said, over time, you just get to the point where you don't notice it anymore.
Yeah. And after about 15 minutes, it's like the 15-minute mark. It's almost like if you can make it 15, you can make it 30.
Yeah.
Like that's how it kind of feels to me. So I guess I'll be moving up.
I guess I've never
done
you haven't 15.
Well, but you're going
15.
to. Now you're going to. Now it's a challenge. We have something else we can do. We can add.
Wow. It's great.
By the way, this is my did you notice my saddle chair?
That is cool.
It is a saddle chair. It's very beat up because it's old now. But I love my saddle chair because you don't have the hip flexion is much less.
Mm-hmm.
So because your hips are a little more extended and you have a totally flat back. There's no slouching. I mean, I guess you could, but not really. The way it's designed, I super recommend saddle chairs. And they're kind of fun because you get to kind of ride the saddle. Even though for me, I don't no rodeo. I did want to just mention for those of you, as we start to wrap up, you mentioned you worked with somebody that I just admired, like growing up, going vegan at the age of 15 and vegetarian at the age of 7 and being an animal person. River Phoenix is
long time. Well, this was like 80s.
I know, but
yeah,
it's just
briefly I worked with River and I just knew his family and living in when I was going to school in Gainesville. Yeah.
I never met him.
And those were the first vegans I had met. So when I was here, we were having something to eat, and she was telling me what she feeds Fiona, and it made me. That's how we got the reference, because that first time I ever saw a dog eat tofu was his uncle Sky Phoenix had a dog, and River's uncle Sky Phoenix had a dog, and he would feed it tofu, and I just thought it was the craziest thing in the world. I was just like, what, like what in the world am I? What's, like, but but the dog loved tofu, and Fiona, she was saying Fiona loves tofu, so
yes, Fiona gets her tofu, sweet potato, and broccoli, and V-Dog. I use V-Dog kibbles. V-Dog kibbles. And I have 10% off for people for the V-Dog too. I'll put that in the show notes. And so you didn't get to, because we didn't drop our arms, we didn't get to drink the Levault.
Well, I wasn't going to drop my arms.
I know. But now you gotta. But I think just for fun.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let me stir.
So one thing I didn't tell you about Animal Flow, I'm considered the first Animal Flow coach. That's what Mike Fitch would say.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that I am considered the original Animal Flow coach. And
oh dang, it's chugging it.
Let's just do it. So, but there are many Animal Flow coaches, master coaches, beginners to some extent, people who are much better at handstands than I. So part of me, I can do a lot of different things, but I've never really focused on the handstand. So what I work with Ella is out of my comfort zone. So if you want to get anything from me, is like it's good to be out of your comfort zone. I've studied personal training, and I've worked with some of the best people in the world, and it's always good to be out of your comfort zone to challenge yourself so I'm in doing that. That's why I believe in master coaches. So, because that cuts out the mistakes you would normally make. So I need to work on handstands. My friend Ella is good at it, and is helpful in teaching me. So I work with her. And so I'm always a big proponent of master coaches. It just cuts out time. They've already made the mistakes.
Yeah, and when it comes to biomechanics, like that's not my expertise. And so sometimes we'll be in the gym and I'll be walking and he's just looking over at me, and I'll walk over and I'm like, what am I walking wrong? Like, I'm like, what do you see? What do you see? Because he'll notice things that will be like, he'll notice the alignment of just me walking. And I'll be like,
there's a good and a bad to that. Because I see it all day long.
All day long. Everywhere. You're like,
everywhere.
You got these like goggles
everywhere.
on that you can't take off.
Yeah. That's why I really don't like going to gyms.
It's so painful, right?
It's
painful. I mean, the obvious things I can catch, but just basics. But he's like next level when it comes to that stuff. So it's,
I've been fortunate to work with good people like yourself.
Thank you, my friend. So you guys, we join the WhatsApp group if you haven't yet, because we are going to have some challenges, and they're not going to be your typical fitness challenges. We've got people like George in our corner, and we're going to be doing some, unique things that will not only help with strength. And I do think we can have it all. Like some people are like, oh, you either train for longevity or you train for aesthetics. I think there are ways we can train. And of course, diet is, you can't change your physique without a good diet. Like that is important. And we're going to have some people on the show to talk about that. But I did make you my infamous kale salad, a version of my infamous kale salad.
That was really good. She didn't think that I would like it.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and I did. It was very, very tasty. I'm about to steal get the recipe and yeah, that was really good. Yeah. And filling.
Were you surprised that it had like 30 grams of protein in that?
Yeah. I'm always, to be honest, I'm always kind of like when people have that discussion about it, and I'm not an expert on nutrition, I know enough to be dangerous in terms of application, let's say. So I'm always kind of questionable when people say the whole 30 grams of protein and this, that, and the other. I'm like, in any regard, I'm always like, okay, but it was filling. I am satiated, and I look forward to having it again. So and I want to learn how to make it for myself.
Yeah,
So,
it takes 10 minutes. 10 minutes to make. I got your back.
10 minutes? That was 10 minutes?
I made about 10 minutes. Well, I did the fancy version for you. I did the roasted chickpeas. Right? You can just throw chickpeas in there.
You could just throw, all right.
Which is what I would usually do for myself, but I had a special guest over for lunch, so I wanted to do the fancy version with the roasted chickpeas on top.
Well, hey, that was
fried.
That was worth it. The dinner, the lunch was worth it. Like I'm here for the lunch. No, I'm here for the fellowship. It's all good. It's what was there any what are any other questions you have for me? What you got for me? What you wouldn't?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I need to have you back because we're gonna have more topics, but I think we're at the...
So you feel comfortable going into your surgery?
Oh, my surgery. Yeah. I forgot about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. So my surgery's at 11 tomorrow, and
so this is something that's very important to think about. Like, so Ella has been training, like, since when did you re-tear your ACL?
About a month ago.
Since she got back from Mexico from her trip, she has been training for this surgery. She has been doing everything. Like I'm every time, and I usually see her when she's in facility training, working, and I see her, and she can do like everything. She can move in ways that you would think, oh, that I don't. Why why would someone need to have a surgery? She can do all those things. But over time, what's going to happen is she's going to begin to have other issues. She's going to be compensating in different ways, and the symphony won't be working really well. The orchestra of her muscles won't be. And it might even be in ways that she's not even aware of. Probably in ways that she's not even aware of, and just little nuances. And then it'll come to a point where it'll be. She's going to have to do something because it'll be damaged. So we want to, if she's an active person, she uses this incredible vehicle that we call the body. And so in order to make sure that she can continue to do all those things at the high level that she wants to, that's why she's having the surgery. If she wasn't going to do anything, she wasn't going to be doing the things that she's doing, then you'd probably be like, I don't know. You don't have to have the surgery.
Yeah.
Right? But she's not going to stop moving. And my friend wouldn't be really good to be around if she can't do her thing. That's her thing. That's her fix, is moving. And so she's going to have the surgery. And that's those are the things those are the things you think about, or the dialogue, or why, like you may be out there and you might have had no ACL for a long time. And you're like, well, I wouldn't have the surgery. And if it's not impeding you in any way, or you don't see it impeding you in any way, then you don't have to have it.
Yeah.
But over time, there will be issues as it relates to it. And you should still be as focused on, if she wasn't having the surgery, we'd be very focused on strengthening everything around, making sure the symphony is playing well together, and turning on and turning off when it should. So that's if there's a question about like why do the surgery again, or what are you like, she's not going to stop moving. She's an athlete, and I think we're all athletes at different levels. Like you might, like walking is just a regress version of running, or running is an advanced version of gait. So so those are, that's just something to think about.
Yeah, no, thanks for reminding me. And it's interesting because you've guys probably seen on Instagram, I'm doing all the things, like I'm not sparring, but also when I was working on the bag the other day, like last chance bag workout, and I threw a hook, and I feel, even though I've got strength, to hold things together, but I could feel the shift.
Yeah.
I felt my knee come out of place, or, the shin and the thigh bone were not lined up when I threw the hook, and those sort of things that over time, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear something else, a meniscus or MCL or something else is going to happen. And now getting it at this stage of the game just makes sense. So I feel very confident about my surgery. Valerie asked what time it is. It's at 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. Surgery will be happening at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So thank you. She said we can focus our good, healthy vibes for you.
So we're going to send you good vibes. And, and this is a process. I've worked with a number of quite a few people, numbers of people, many times in pre-surgery, post-surgery. It's doable, very doable, very doable. We just want to do it right.
Yep. And tomorrow at 6 a.m. I will be doing something. I'll either be taking Fiona from a last chance run, or going for our 6 a.m. Kettlebell metabolic workout at the gym. Trevor's here. Hey, Trevor.
What's up, Trevor?
Which sounds, I don't know, might sound a little crazy, right? But if I don't have to be there till 9, I got get it in one last one, What's when people are hungry and they get angry, they call them hangry. It was reminding me when you're like, I'm not going to want to be around you if you can't train. There's got to be a term for if you can't train or you can't move. Like hangry, like mangry.
I don't know. The first person that I worked with on ACL surgery pre and post, my good friend Amanda Tamus, Donnie Raymond and I worked with her on our pre and post surgery. And what happened was she was scared to train with me for years. And out of the blue, her husband calls me, who's a good friend of mine, Mark. He calls me and says, "Bro, I need you. And Amanda needs you to help her." And I'm like, "Amanda don't want to work with me." But he's like, "Bro, she needs you, because if she can't train or do anything and that she's not happy, nobody's going to be happy." And so that's how I got her as a client. And 17 years later, she had 2 ACL surgeries. And for years, she didn't do anything. She had an ACL surgery, and now she's going to have a total reconstruction surgery. And we're training for it right now. Actually, we're going to train in a few hours. And she's going to be soon, right after that, she will be getting ready to get back to doing the things she likes to do. And like, she likes to do trails, hike trails in Aspen and up the mountains. So like, it's important, like if we can avoid surgery, avoid it. I'm definitely not the person to be talking about like just having surgery, but if there's a necessity here if you're going to move at a high level and do different things. So just contextually, I just wanted to say that to you.
Yeah. And I think we'll have a show that's kind of dedicated to also the, this high like we get and the reason people overtrain too, which I think is just important. We're not going to get into it now because we're going to wrap up here.
But it's important to rest.
That's rest. I know. I mean, I am 1,000 times better than I used to be.
I know you are.
Yeah, 1,000 times better than I used to be. I train smart. I do train smart now.
You do train smart.
But that's why our tagline is "Train like your life depends on it," because it does. It really does. And part of that is rest and recovery. I get it. All right. I'm having my surgery on a Friday, so I don't have to take a single day off work, but I'm going to rest all weekend. Anywho. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining us live. Those of you who are here right now. Thank you for all the beautiful wishes. George, thank you for being on the show. Appreciate you on so many levels. And you guys, if you're not a part of the WhatsApp group, get on that now. We're going to have some exclusive content on there and first access to our challenges that will happen when we reach 100 members. So super excited for that. Sending you all lots of love, and I will be on again next Thursday, 12:30 with Fred Holt, who will be talking about Tai Chi and Qigong and Kung Fu as well. And it'll be post-surgery, and I'll get to catch you up and fill you in on how all that went and where I'm at that point. So excited for all that. All right. Bye.